Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Finding Hope Podcast. Got Will here, and Jesse, and myself.
Crew's
Hello.
back.
We're back. We took a slight hiatus because of spring break, but we got a lot of material to cover today. We're going to try to go through, golly, what is it? Almost 23 verses?
24.
24
So-
verses. That was close.
You started out last week in Romans chapter 11,
Yep.
first 10 verses, and I picked up yesterday with 11 through 24.
Yeah.
So
I got to say, I've enjoyed preaching through this because it's one of those that you rarely preach through, but I am excited to be out of it.
of this section,
9 through 11.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I thought you were saying Romans. I was like,
No.
We're not done with Romans, bro.
We got a
No,
little
I
bit
know.
more.
We're not done.
We're
How
not
long
done.
have we been in Romans?
Oh, we started in August.
Did
Yeah.
we? Okay. That's what I thought. So it'll be about a year.
Yeah, it'd
Yeah.
be almost a year.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
that's been fun.
Yeah, so we start in verse 1 talking about the remnant of Israel. And it says, I asked then, has God rejected his people? By no means, for I myself am an Israelite. So the major question here on the board is, has God rejected Israel? Well, Paul gives us the answer. He says, by no means. And in this day and age, this has caused some controversy and some, questions and speculation, because there is terms out there like replacement theology and supersessionism, something like that.
You're going to
It's
have
a
to
long-
elaborate on
fulfillment.
that one.
Theology.
Yeah. Well, there's dispensationalism, and then there's supersationism,
Okay,
which is
yeah.
they've superseded, the church has superseded Israel. So basically it means that Israel is no longer in the picture, and the church is completely taken over, and all the promises that were made to Israel are now made to the church. And we don't believe that. We believe that God is not done with his people. But we also believe that just because you're a Jew doesn't give you automatic access into heaven.
Yeah. I think the thing, too, that, when it comes to replacement theology, fulfillment theology, yes, God used his people. He chose Israel. He worked through Israel, and through Israel is the seed in which brought forth the Messiah. I mean, it's through that lineage, through that line of chosen people that he brings forth the Messiah, who therefore establishes the church. So those things are not wrong, but you can't say that God's like Israel's just over. And I think too, I think the caveat to this is saying that God's not done with Israel doesn't mean that we approve everything that the state of Israel or the country of Israel does.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, so I don't think that, I think that's where the kind of the rub and the hard places are, is that people look at that and go, so you just approve. No. First of all, I would not approve or agree with everything the United States does. Like, I don't know that there's any country that we at this point would say, man, you're batting 1,000, and so.
Well, I think there's such a gray line into politics when it comes to like terms like Christian nationalism or Christian Zionism, and they're like, you're either all in or you're not in at all. Yeah. And it's one of those things. But I really like that you went back to 9:4, because I was actually going to do this the week before, and I had it in my notes and I didn't do it, but it says they're Israelites. And to them belong the adoption, the glory, the covenants, the giving of the law, the worship, the promises. To them belong the patriarchs. From their race, according to the flesh, is the Christ, who is God over all, blessed forever. Amen. So Paul is saying that through this lineage of people came all of these things. And God gave Israel specific covenants and specific promises to that people alone. And he is fulfilled a lot of those covenants and promises, but there's still some yet to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is the Israelites, like all people, don't ever want to listen, don't ever want to obey, and don't ever want to basically go along with the plan of God. They want to do their own thing.
Yeah.
And when they met the Son of God and saw him face to face, they totally and completely rejected him.
Yeah. I thought it was cool. And we're covering 2 weeks of material here, so I'm going back to remember. But you had said something, about why God chose those people, or where they super. You said something to like, or they're the most stubborn group of people, or something. The most stiff neck, and I thought that was really. I mean, how much truth is to that? I don't, but it was just interesting because it's like maybe God chose them to prove just how powerful He is and that He could change, merciful, and it was just really good. And you also did just an incredible job of helping people like myself, who I would not consider myself like an Old Testament expert. Like that's one of the things I appreciate about you is just like your knowledge of the Old Testament and seeing the prophecy. Like you did an excellent job of going back and laying that out. Like the example you gave of when Israel became a nation.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. And just showing, here's where we saw this in the Old Testament, and here's where it was prophesied, and here's where it happened. That was really neat. And for me personally, it provided a lot of assurance, even more than we already have, of how true God's word is and that He's going to work out His will.
Well,
and His plan.
The amazing thing is, like, I think it's in Exodus 15. I think this is where it's at. I'm probably wrong, but it's where Moses sees the burning bush, and God lays out His plan for the entire nation in advance. He says, "This is going to happen. You're going to go. They're not going to listen. The Egyptians are going to give you all their gold. You're going to go, and then I'm going to bring you to the land of promise." He tells him all of this stuff, and one of the things that it always gets me is because when we start in God's plan, we think this is the end. Like, we're just like, oh my gosh, do you know how much work this is going to take to get there? And He's like, brother, you've still got 2,000 years of history that's going to be made.
Yeah.
Like, your story's not the end, it's the beginning of all of this. You still got the judges to go through, and the kings, and the prophets, and all the mess that is going to happen, and then the Messiah will come, And I think that's pretty amazing that at the beginning, He laid out the whole plan. He was like, this is what's going to happen to you guys. And sure enough, if you read the story, everything He said would happen. And the thing that relates to us is that when the Bible tells us something and God cannot lie or cannot alter His word, we can put full assurance in that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. It's just I think this is one of those topics, and it's just stressful. I say stressful. I guess it rubs people the wrong way, and I think so often people jump into one side of the ship or one side of or the other side, and not.
Well, I think people either have a major knowledge and opinion on it,
Sure,
or they have no knowledge at all on it.
Yeah,
sure,
absolutely.
And that's kind of where we've seen a lot of people fall. And when you begin to look at Scripture in context,
not fall as like fall in failure, but just kind of fall into categories.
Fall into categories.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And when they begin to read this in full context, where it's like, do all the Jews get in then? No, He says that there's only a remnant.
Yeah.
And that's where he goes next. He's like, Elijah was like, I'm the only one. He's like, no, you're not. I've still got 7,000 that have not been their need of Baal. And so we can get isolated in this thing and say, well, we're the only ones that are going through these things. No. But here's the issue, and we've talked about this quite a bit. One, when you begin to preach the whole Bible in context, people are like, I've never read that. And number two, when you preach grace and truth, you rub people the wrong way because people like grace or they like truth.
Yeah.
They don't like grace and truth.
Yeah. It does. And we see that consistently. As though it's like, oh, that's good. Oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
It's like, I had somebody yesterday who was visiting, and it's a newer couple that's here, and their friend was here, and she was like, I don't want to be uncomfortable today, and you just made me uncomfortable.
I think that's the sad reality of what a lot of churches and pastors are doing these days is that they're handpicking verses. And we're just not getting the whole context of what the Bible teaches and the main storyline from beginning to end. Obviously, it's the story of redemption of man, but it's all there. It's all there. It's just are you going to walk through it all?
Well, and that's why I keep saying, like, people probably getting tired of me saying that you got to keep reading, like read ahead, read behind.
Yeah.
When we're in a chapter, you really should just be reading through that chapter to see what it says as a whole and not get so pigeonholed into one set of verses, because that can happen. And I see it all the time. I see people trying to build like a theological stance on one verse or one viewpoint, and you're like, whoa, but the other parts of Scripture say this. So
Yeah.
so they don't work against each other; they work with each other.
Yeah.
And so they're not counterintuitive. They work in harmony. And so there's a balance there of what the Scriptures say as a whole.
So, you were going to say something. Right?
Well, I'm just going to sort of wrap it up really quickly with my opinion of this whole matter. Is this, is God done with Israel? The Bible says no, he's not. And we can look back and we can see that he has made specific covenants and promises to Israel over and over and over again. And I hit a lot of those, okay? And he says, these covenants will stand forever. And a lot of people, I'm going to do a side note really quickly. A lot of people are like, well, why doesn't the church meet on the Sabbath? And this is just one example. Well, that covenant and that law was given to the Israelites specifically. I mean, this was a covenant he made with those people. And if you want to do that, then you work 6 days a week. You do nothing on the seventh day, which is Saturday, from Friday night 6 p.m. till Saturday night 6 p.m. Sundown to sundown. There's all these rules and regulations about what you can and can't do, and that is the Jewish legal tradition in doing those things. When he created a new covenant with us, with the church, and even with the Jews through Jesus' blood, he's like, you don't have to work for it anymore. It is now a covenant that I work for. I've given you. Now you work from rest. So you start at the beginning of the day by giving me honor and giving me rest on Sunday. And then the rest of your week, you work from that. You don't work to work. You work from work. You don't work to rest. You work from rest. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just one of many examples of how the new covenant supersedes the old covenant. But here's the thing, and I think I can sum it up with this. This is in verse 7 of 11. What then? Israel failed to attain what it was seeking. What was it seeking? The Messiah. They were seeking the Messiah. The elect obtained it, but the rest were hardened. As it is written, God gave them a spirit of stupor, eyes would not see, ears that would not hear, down to this very day. So even to this very day, the Israelites are still looking for a Messiah to come, looking for a government official that will take over, that will rule and reign. And they missed it 2,000 years ago when Christ came, not for a government takeover, but for sin takeover. He completely obliterated sin and defeated death. And that's where they missed it. But there is still a remnant. There are still Messianic Jews that believe that Jesus is the Son of God, that he fulfilled all of these prophecies. And really the sad thing is the majority of the Jewish people, if they would open up their Bible to Isaiah and read what it says, and then open up the New Testament. I mean, one guy I was listening to, he said, I grabbed a copy of the New Testament, which is basically illegal. I mean, you can't have it. And he opened it to a book called Hebrews. He's like, well, this is weird. Because it's very Jewish in nature. He went back to Matthew and he was like, son of Abraham, son of David? Well, I mean, this is all my people, you know? God presents it to everybody the same way. It's up to us to consume it.
Yeah. So, so God's not done with Israel. Now, I think that we kind of wrap this up because I think whatever.
We can move into
the thing I think that both you and I feel is that there's just here in Romans 11, there's so much talk of the future of Israel, and I don't understand how that's all going to play out in the end. I don't understand how that's going to work. I think there's some indications on some things in Revelation, but it's not all super clear. But I just have to rest that he's not done with them, and he's going to do something through them. To me, that doesn't mean that, I'm going to support everything that the nation of Israel is going to do, just like I'm not going to support everything the United States is going to do. Like, nobody's perfect. We're not living in a perfect world, but we know the one who was perfect has a plan, doesn't lie, doesn't break his covenants, and
all things work according to his plan.
Yeah, and so it's good.
Yeah. So you started
with basically the analogy of at the table,
Yeah.
which I don't know if you look back at verse 9, but it's pretty funny because it's like, let their what?
And 11:9?
11:9.
Let their table.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Become a snare.
Yeah.
So they're seated at this table. They are looking for the Messiah. God brings the Messiah. They completely reject him. As a matter of fact, they crucified him. And the other passage that it reminded me of was the bridesmaids and the great banquet. And he says, "Where are all the people?" And he says, "Well, we told everybody, but they didn't come." He said, "Well, now go out to the highways and the hedges and bring anybody that wants to come in. Urge them to come in." And that's what he did. He said, "Fine, if you will reject me and worship a no God, I'm going to get a no people, and they will accept me and worship me." So I think it was a pretty good analogy of they were seated at the table.
Yeah.
And God said, "Okay, fine."
Yeah.
You know?
And it's, I think that's the thing that got me as I sort of navigated through this passage, with everything that the first 10 verses hold, and talking about the Jews, the Israelites. It just gave me this picture, and I don't really know why I ended up with this table analogy. I went through a bunch of different things just to try to paint the picture, but I just felt like it was the right direction to go.
The whole time I was wondering, is this a Chat GPT illustration right here? Because this
I actually,
I'm just teasing.
I was looking for a movie, honestly.
Yeah.
And I wanted, I was trying to use some illustrations. Anyway, I don't. No, I know.
I thought it was good. Yeah.
Well, I asked Chat for some questions on movies, and it did not give me good movie illustrations. And Kate and I both were like, "Yeah, no."
Yeah.
So, I really don't. I to be honest with you, I think it's just this picture to me that you as a family, and that's how I view the Israelites as a family. The family of God, the church is a family, and God has gave them that front row seat to see everything that was done, everything that was provided for them, and yet they're in many ways, I think, to Paul, like the scales were on his eyes, and he was blinded to it and just couldn't see until those were removed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so,
Go to Acts 19:15, Jesse,
Thanks. Oops.
because you referenced this verse as well, and I thought this was good.
1915.
19:15.
All right.
Matthew, Mark, Luke.
No, I got it. I'm looking. I'm looking at the
Okay.
verse. All right. Verse 15. But the evil spirit answered them, "Jesus I know, and Paul I recognize."
Acts
19:15.
9:15.
9:15. Was
I
it
thought
9:15?
What?
I
I
thought
thought
you
you
said
said 1915.
I
gonna
got
have
it
to
right
go
here.
back
You want me
and
to read it?
Yeah, read it.
Yeah. I thought you
it
said
says, "But the Lord,
1950.
but the Lord said to him, Go, for he is." This is Ananias talking about Ananias when Paul had been converted. "Go, for he, Paul, is a chosen instrument of mine to carry my name before the Gentiles, kings, and the children of Israel."
Look at the order. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're going to go to the Gentiles now,
yeah,
and then you're going to go to the higher officials,
yeah.
and then you can go to Israelite. But every time Paul would go in, he tried to go to the Jews first. I think God was warning him. He's like, they're not going to listen to
They're
you.
not going to listen to you. Yeah.
They're just not going to listen to you. You know, I just thought that was interesting that it's in that order, and Paul kind of was like, "But I want to do."
Yeah, this
You
is
know,
what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all like
one
that.
other thing about the family that I think is funny. So I've got 3 kids. You've got 4 kids. You're getting ready to have 3 kids, and it's amazing to me that the genetic differences of all of our kids made from the same 2 people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there's always the one. You love him or her with all your heart, but they are a very difficult kid. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And God's like, I want that one. Like,
Yeah.
what's the most difficult child the Jews? I'll take them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll take them, you know? And, I think that's a pretty good analogy of what you were saying is just like, he did it to show his love, and he did it to show his mercy. That
Yeah.
if I can deal with them,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can deal with anybody.
yeah, yeah. Will talked a little bit about the jealousy aspect
Yes.
of like, we've been given all this, we're entitled to this, we have this, but now all of a sudden there's somebody else sitting at the table, who doesn't have what I have,
Yeah.
but do they, And I thought that was really good how you went there. I know you obviously compared that to us as the church and how we see outsiders and stuff, but I think that was a wake up call for a lot of us, because we do sit inside of our remodeled Dollar General, as you said. That was funny, with nice cushy seats.
I think I only said that in third.
Did you? Okay, yeah.
I don't think I
You
said, I don't
didn't-
think that came out, but in third. But
yeah.
anyway.
Okay. You all say some stuff in third that you don't say in the first two.
it's not being recorded.
Yeah.
No, honestly, like stuff just comes to me,
But
and
yeah,
it's like,
it was-
yeah, it just
yeah. At that point, you don't care. After.
yeah.
But anyways, to the point, it was, how do we see outsiders? And
Well, I think that picture.
Yeah.
This is what I think got me more than anything, is that the Israelites had that front row seat to everything God was doing, but
Yeah.
yet they missed the ultimate promise,
Yeah.
the ultimate gift right in front of them.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't hidden. It was right in front of them, as clear as day. And yet I think so often the church misses what's right in front of them. And I think that's for me, like, I don't want our church, I don't want our community, I don't want this little area that we get to shepherd and guard and pastor, and
yeah.
I don't want us to miss it. Like, I don't want us to miss
Yeah, the whole- yeah.
what God's got right in front of us. I don't want us to have so many blinders on to tradition, to the way that we've always done things, to miss God's activity right in front of
Well, the whole
us.
time you were saying that, I was just in my heart, I was just praying, God, I hope there's somebody here who's not churched, like the traditional, raised in the, and they're a true outsider. They look messy on the outside. They don't have it all together, which none of us do.
Yeah.
But I hope there's somebody hearing that for the first time and just thinking, gosh, the church isn't what I thought it, or this is how the church is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think again, I mean, Paul says this, and we're all supported from the same root. You went into this, but it says, then you will say, branches were broken off so that I might be grafted in. Verse 19. That is true. They were broken off because of their unbelief, but you stand fast through faith. So do not become proud, but fear. For if God did not spare the natural branches, which is Israel, neither will he spare you, which are the Gentiles. And I never want to get so arrogant and proud and think, man, we've got this thing going and we're doing all this great stuff, that God is like, I can't even deal with you all because you think you've got it all together. And one of the things I heard Josh Howerton say, he had this little clip, and he was like, there was a pizza place right next to the church that he was going, and there was a guy that was working there, and he was disheveled and had flour all over his pants, and it was just one of those where he knew the guy was struggling. He said, I used to come in there all the time and be like, hey, man, you need to come to church with me. Come to church with me. And finally, one day the guy was like, fine, I'll come to church with you. And so he said, okay, I'll wait for you in the lobby. Come at like 9:30. I'll be there. And the guy, and he waited. He was like, I'm on staff. It's 9:30, 9:35, 9:40, 9:45. I got to go in, because service has started. And so the next day he goes to that pizza place. He was like, hey, man, I thought you were going to come to church. And he said, I did. I came to church, got out of my car, walked up to the front door, and a guy in a suit said, don't you have anything better to wear at church?
yep.
And he was like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah. So I just turned around because I didn't have anything. I was wearing what I had, And he said, if I ever get a church, the only dress code will be that you have clothes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
If
I
you don't
think
have clothes, we got clothes
We
for
got
you.
clothes for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that goes right into. I don't know. I really don't know who you referenced, but you said you heard a pastor or somebody talk about the difference of inviting somebody to church to bringing them to church.
Yeah.
That hit home for me, because I mean, how often do we tell somebody about our church in passing? And then you guys know how busy we are on a Sunday morning. We're getting pulled in so many different directions, and we're trying to be over here and help with this or meet this person, talk to this. And it's like, if you've invited somebody, be waiting at the door for them.
Oh, yeah.
Bring them in, help them get their kids in to check in,
Yeah.
walk them through that process. Show them where things are at. Like sit with them, like be a part of that experience, you know, and that make a big difference.
Huge difference.
And making someone feel welcome, because if you just invite them, I mean, they might see the parking lot and just circle and leave. You know,
Well, we got 3 services going on.
Yeah.
It's like they may come to third, you in first.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like, well, somebody told me to come here, and I don't,
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to be at the 9:45. I'm going to be at the 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know, or which service do you want to come to?
Yeah.
'Cause then I'll be there. And I just think it's a game changer. But I think the thing that the picture, what I was trying to get across there is, if I'm going to invite somebody to my house, and so it was funny because apparently in second service I said, don't invite somebody, bring them. And at the very, very end, I was like, make sure you invite somebody or something like that. Sarah Mackin
Where
was
you
like,
live, work, and play.
She goes,
Go-
I was so proud of you, and then you just
Blew
you
it off
blew it. And
once
so, but my point is that you invite somebody to your house, like you invite them over. You're going to make sure the house is taken care of, is prepared, and all of those things. But you're not going to leave them in the driveway and expect for them just to come in and find their seat at the table. Like you're going to bring them in. You're going to help them find where they should be. And I think for the scope of the gospel, like we want, there's still seats at the table at the Lord's. There's still seats there, and He wants us to bring people in, sit them down, and allow them to partake in the things that He has provided for us. I just think it's a beautiful picture, and I thought it was super powerful. It was super powerful for me, and I thought it would be helpful in that regard. But
Yeah. I think, or I feel like if we can always remember the goal of what we do, I'm talking pastors and congregation, and the goal of Hope Church is just to reach people. And as Joby says, reach one more.
yeah,
And not worry about the baggage, the clothing, the outward appearance, anything like that. It's, the gospel is for everyone. And we never get to a place where it's just like, I don't think you're going to make it. So, you're not one of the elect.
well, I think though. So I probably should give a little bit of preference, a background. So for me, the context and what I think about, like is the church that I grew up in, and so often the church was that looking down on outsiders.
Yep.
As though we're Christians, we're better than you. We don't. I love what Joby says. Don't date someone who smokes, chews, or
Runs with the girls at the
Run,
pool.
yeah, girls. Yeah, and I'm like, that's so true. Like takes me back to how I grew up. Like this is the way, and so it's one of those things where I don't want our church to have that stigma. I want our church to be a place that everybody feels welcome, that our people know they're not perfect. We acknowledge that we're not perfect, but that we know a perfect God who sacrificed His Son for us. And so that's the hope that we have for our generation, for the next generation, and for the generations to come. And we just want to share that. I just don't want I don't want that stigma. I don't want my kids to grow up with that stigma,
Yeah.
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 I want my kids to grow up with a stigma or an understanding of church that's like, man, you're welcome here. Like,
Yeah. It's open
come.
to all.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
All right. Well, good.
anything else? What you got? Jesse's got something.
Oh, I got a lot, but
Go ahead.
Let's go. I don't have anywhere to go except for Nicaragua.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. No, I mean, I guess I was thinking more personal reflection of what I got out of your message yesterday, and kind of goes in with that and inviting versus bringing. But you talked about how we need to be careful that we don't miss what's right in front of us. I know that kind of ties in with being so futuristic focused, which you can think about that in the eschatology line of thinking, but you could also think about it just from your personal line of thought of, man, I'm always thinking about what's my life look like in the future, you know? And for me personally, and I think that's something that I've struggled with, honestly, even in my own ministry, I'm always thinking about what's next or what's coming or what can I get to. And God's kind of even checked my own heart of, look what's right in front of you.
Sure.
And how can you make a difference with what I've given you right now? And I just thought that was really good, the way you went there with that a little bit, even from just a day-to-day context of who are the people that are just in your circles every single day? Who's in your neighborhood? Who are you coming in contact with every single day? And even if it's within your own family, you know, your kids, and who are you making a difference in on a daily basis? And if we're not careful, we'll miss it, you know, or we could be so focused on the future that we're not even seeing what's right here.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of times two types of people that are very either financially minded in the respect of, like, I'm going to save, I'm going to do everything I can to build this up so that I can retire and I have a good future. There's others who just, you know, live on the edge. And I think there's a balance between the two. Yeah. That like we have to be wise to, okay, so we know God's going to return. We know the Lord's going to return. And it seems like we could have the mindset, like understand, it seems like it's quick sooner than later.
Rick says it's next week.
But what we, like, and it could be.
Yeah, it could be.
That'd be like so awesome. Like Katie and I were talking about the other day. Like, she was just like, I'm just ready for the little return.
Well, I mean, imagine, seriously, think of the new reality that we would be living in when Christ returns. Like, that's going to be mind blowing.
Yeah. Well, I know. Like, so, but we have a responsibility for our life and for the days that have been given to us and the days that we are going to have.
Yeah.
And so we have a responsibility to foster what we have now, steward what we have now, to steward what we have later. So we don't live in a way that we say, I'm so...
It's reckless.
I'm not reckless, but I'm also not... like so frugal that I'm not generous and do anything for others, and because I'm building this up, because you build us all up, and if Jesus comes back, like, great. Like, I mean, you know, but so I just think I think what you're saying is you cannot miss the moment that's right in front of you, and that is living your life one day at a time. I mean, you never know, first of all, when it's going to be your last breath. You never know. So you just don't take those moments for granted. And then, like, you like, we've been given this life, the breath in our lungs, to steward for His good and His glory. And are we doing that? Yeah. I think that's what it boils down to.
I think the other thing, especially for you and younger families and even, you know, kind of families that especially got kids, you know, with, you know, 16, 17 and under, you got to be very intentional in what you want to invest in, because you're going to go through seasons of life. And when you're a young family, you're not going to have much money. As you grow in jobs and businesses and those kind of things, you'll have a little bit more money. But I've known people who were so frugal, they never went anywhere. They never took vacations. They never spent time with their family. And now they're 16, 17 years old, and their health is so poor that it's like, we saved all this money to go do things when we retire, and we can't go do things because our health is not where it should be. And so we took a lot of time with our family to say, hey, we're going to invest here right now, while not neglecting the future, but saying we only have a limited time with our family, and we need to invest in them to the point where it's like we've had experiences, we've grown, we've done things, we've traveled, and now when you get a little older, you know, you kind of settle back and you say, okay, we don't need to do as much of that anymore. We need to invest in something else. So I think it's just prioritizing what you want to invest in.
Yeah.
You know, and not being fearful of the future.
Yeah, I think
which it's just funny. We, like, everybody's so fearful of the future. I think that's what
yeah.
gets everybody so distracted.
Well, you mentioned
Is the fear that-
young families. I mean, that's my life group, which means that's the season that I'm in. But every time we even begin to touch on the end times, it's I've got a baby. Like what is that going to look like? Or I'm pregnant. What if he comes back right now? How does that? It's just I think and again, I'm not saying that it's wrong to be, kids and marriage and all those things are gifts from God that we get to enjoy here on earth. But sometimes we do get so wrapped up in those that we think that that's all there is.
Yeah.
And we're almost fearful when we begin to let our mind begin to dabble into well, what's next.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a rabbit hole right there. If we get get going down that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when it comes to that, the Bible says that in the end times, people will be marrying. They'll be going about doing their thing. He's going to come like a thief in the night.
So I will know my spouse in heaven. Is that what you? Taylor asks me that question all the time. Will we know each other? Or will we know each other as husband and
The
wife?
Bible says that you will know people as they were, as they are. I'll probably get there and be like, that's Abraham, that's Noah, that's this, that's this, that's this. But there will not be marriage in heaven.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, Jesus tells them that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's one of those things where it's like, I don't know how that's going to work.
That's one of
So
the
if
things
he's
as a pastor that you just really you can make some people mad.
Yeah.
And you're like, I know. But
Come on, Rick.
They come to us and they're like, well, tell me. And I'm like, well, you probably don't want to hear what I'm going to
The
say.
funny thing is when you're in marriage counseling and the woman's like, will we be married in heaven? And you just see the guy looking at his feet.
No, yeah. Yeah. It's that would be a great just conversation one day is just to unravel some stuff. That'd be fun.
There you go. Well, that's all I got.
But not for today. Like,
Not for today.
Yeah, we got So,
Yeah.
Anything else we need to touch on before we wrap up?
I'm good.
Clear heads, clear minds. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we do. We appreciate you checking in and listening to the Finding Hope podcast. Hope these last couple of weeks have been beneficial and edifying, and we'll catch you next week. I hope you'll join us on Sunday at 9:45. Why
8,
9:45.
9:45 and
Too many
11:30.
times.
We've been
around here.
talking too many times. So, anyways, y'all have a good day.